Time drifts by while Cat recovers. The ancient structure contained more spiders than he and Dog had dealt with before. But not being living creatures, the spiders often failed to pursue, nor did Cat have to worry about them consuming his corpse. So, good sparring partners. And the water outside was kind enough to the skin that Cat could work to improve his swimming and his athletics overall. The lab itself contained no great secrets, just more of the heavy boxes and cylinders that Cat could use to weigh himself down further. It was with those heavy objects and an iron spider in hand that Cat would attempt to improve his strength further. There is no easy way to build strength, as once things get easy, the only option is to ramp up that resistance, and all that new weight would certainly help. And so, during the day, back and forth they go, the ever-loyal Dog, always close by. And after a good fight or two, Cat would find himself with even more weight. Kia ora, Legionnaires. Rycon here, and welcome back to Kenshi, Tale of the Blade. I can happily say the Cat has recovered, and in that time of recovery, we've done quite the bit of training. The stats that you're seeing on the screen right now are his original stats, and now after this little bulking session. So we certainly are making some improvements, and as much as it would be nice to just continue training here, Cat must push on. He only has so much in the way of food, and there are still so many structures to see here in the floodlands. From Cat's current position, there are 2 towers he can make out in the distance, and those are the 2 that he shall be investigating first. The closest tower appears to have already crumbled into the sodden earth, with not much more than just one side visible. Cat's able to make out something of an entrance, but it's quite the climb, and not worth it in these conditions. But that was just the first of the 2 towers. The second seems much more promising. The 2 approach with caution. With how common the iron spiders were here, Cat wouldn't be surprised to find a few of them still clunking around inside. Yet, as he entered, the tower was bare. Tables and shelving overturned. The second level told a similar story, and no doubt it would be the same for the third. Yet not all was taken. A chest, a safe, and a few lockers remained. Inside the safe, a rather unique-looking bow, and even more of the heavy cylinders. The first weapons locker was empty, the second still locked, but after opening, it reveals nothing more than an old, rusted nodachi. Only one level remained, the roof, containing nothing more than a lonely stool. From here, though, Cat could see far and wide. The tower was dwarfed by gargantuan structures, of which Cat could only guess the purpose. Peering into the distance, past the sunken tower, a partially toppled one still stood. The beds here could serve them well, yet the sun had not set. There were more hours left in this day. Leaving the comfort and the protection of the tower behind, the duo presses on. The tower had an entrance. However, nothing of value remained. It would make for poor shelter, and to make matters worse, as Cat digs into his pack, seeking food for the 2, he finds a soggy, congealed mess. The rain of the floodlands had finally gotten to their rations. Both their stomachs growled. Cat's attention was drawn to the north once again. Another tower was close by, one that may very well contain what they need. As they ran, Cat cursed his short-sightedness. It had been so long since they had felt this kind of hunger. The need to improve, to better himself, had gotten the better of Cat. As the tower came into view, Cat could spy a turbine atop it. Maybe someone still lived here. They passed by inert iron spiders, and they found out they weren't alone, after all. Outside in the rain he stood, a skeleton with arms folded and 3 red lights trained upon Cat.
Let me guess, another adventurer. You certainly don't look like the scavenging type, or the bandit type either.
How did you know?
The floodlands mostly attracts the adventuring type. It's full of lost treasures, of course. So why wouldn't it? But anybody else sane of mind wouldn't risk the spider bots. They keep most of the more hostile trespassers at bay. But life holed up in this tower can get dull, so it's always good to share shelter and exchange stories with fellow adventurers.
Oh, so you're an adventurer too?
Used to be. Skeletons aren't as perishable as humans like you, but we still have a limit to our existence. We start to seize up over time, or we work suddenly, without warning. My time is near. My parts are wearing and I'm not as fit for exploration as I used to be. So here I am, retired, in the solitude of the floodlands.
I'm sorry? Still, I'm sure you have had your fair share of adventures.
I've traveled to the eastern ashlands, to the southern swamps. Recovering lost relics and lost pieces of history is something that has always satisfied me. And of course, watching human behavior as the world evolves and falls.
What could you tell me about humans?
Nothing ever truly changes. Trends, cultures, languages, rulers, they come and go. But behavior bred from greed and fear hold human evolution at a standstill. Any kind of progress made is usually destroyed, reset in one way or another. Like a wave, it evolves and falls again.
Well, that's a depressing thought.
A skeleton has a lot of time for deep contemplation, especially one that has lived alone with nothing but spiderbots as company for the last 3 years.
Well, I hope it's not too much to ask. We're out of food, and it'd sure be nice to have a place to stay.
Well then, be my guest. You will find the tower comfortable, and as I need not rest, I will be sure to keep you and your little one safe and sound.
Thank you. By the way, I'm Cat. That's dog.
Oh, an inventive one. You may call me Burn. Now, inside, out the rain, the two of you.
The layout of the tower was similar to the first that they had visited. The bottom level consisting of a living space, while the second was geared towards industry and a production that Cat couldn't quite understand. The third was where Cat would be resting for the night, in a rather rough-looking bed. Byrne explained how the device had kept him going all these years, and that it would of course be completely safe for Cat to use. It certainly wouldn't be a comfortable sleep, but a bed was a bed. And so the night slips by as the duo rest under the watchful eyes of Byrne. Cat stirs to the sound of barking. Why barking? It takes only a moment to realize the blade is gone. As he reaches the door, Dog is already in pursuit. He couldn't lose it now. That blade was his by right, by fate. No one will take that from him. The skeleton must have thought himself safe. His pace had slowed. Cat was ready to strike, but Byrne was ready too. last strike, shocking the core. The once great adventurer Burn lay still. And the blade is back where it belongs. The rain washes over him, washes the anger away. He would not trust another again. And so it was that one adventurer's story would come to an end, while another continues into the unknown. Back at the tower, Cat grabbed what was his. That was far too close. He couldn't risk it happening again. It was hunger that drove him here, or the fear of it. But with this tower now empty, and with no food in sight, just what would that hunger drive Cat to risk next? There was no life here. No fish, no edible plants. While the area had an excess of water, that was all it had. For now, they wouldn't die of thirst, but they would need food soon. A land of skeletons and iron spiders wasn't going to provide that. The mountains opened up ever so slightly to the west, and by then he had already made up his mind. To the west they would go, following the curves of the mountain. That was the path they'd take. And so it is with that we will be saying farewell to Cat and Dog for now. Lessons have been learnt. Once just a boy and a blade, Cat has grown into a formidable warrior and proved today that he could fight, even when the blade was out of hand. Yet there is a possessiveness now that wasn't always there. Or maybe it wasn't as visible back then. But we know one thing for sure now. Cat won't be letting go of that blade so easy. For now, I would like to thank you all for joining me once again in the world of Kenshi. If you enjoyed today's episode, please consider leaving a comment or a like to let me know if you enjoyed the show. And as Cat eyes a skeleton wandering nearby, I will be saying goodbye. For now, I have been Rycon. You have all been awesome. And until next time, stay tuned. And finally, I'd like to extend a great big thank you to the Legion on Patreon, who continue to make roleplays like Tale of the Blade possible.